See this, guys. Now, I haven't paid for a mortgage. I haven't paid property insurance. I haven't paid a car payment. I haven't paid for a tire rotation. I haven't paid any number of bills for the last year and a half. And as you probably guessed, my stress has almost completely gone. And in this video, I'm going to tell you in detail all the bills that I don't worry about anymore in early retirement abroad. And in fact, by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the one question that you need to ask yourself before you agree to work another 5 to 7 years at your 9-to-5 job. So these bills, they quietly drain your bank account, and it's very freeing when you no longer have to worry about them because they no longer exist. So let me walk you through that list right now. Back in the US, I had a wonderful 4-bedroom house, 3 bathrooms, and 2 beautiful luxury German cars. Now, yeah, I owned them, or at least the bank owned a big chunk of that house. I didn't own it. I was paying the bills for it. I was paying the mortgage, I was paying the homeowner's insurance, the utilities, the interest on that mortgage, of course, principal interest. I was paying all that. And I had probably another 7 years to go to pay off that mortgage. And in addition to that fun stuff, we also had all the utilities, water, gas, electric, internet, the maintenance, the yard work, the snow plowing in my case, and all the other costs associated with maintenance, never mind the unexpected costs of maybe a roof repair or painting a door or fixing a window, all those things that may or may not be covered by insurance. So all those overhead costs just to own a property and own cars, those grind you down, they wear you down, and in the end they don't give you that much satisfaction. So I don't pay for any of that anymore. That baggage, that weight, that yoke around my neck has gone. And that's one of the main reasons that I've chosen to become a minimalist in early retirement. And ultimately, the break-even cost analysis for that is in my benefit, as well as the mental benefit of not having to worry about those things. So when you own cars, I enjoyed having a nice car. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed my Audi. And I enjoyed the feeling of driving around in my Audi. Sometimes I enjoyed it, sometimes I didn't enjoy it, depending on where I was going. Most of the time it was to get me to the office or to the grocery store. So yeah, it's a nice car, but it's only used a couple of percentage of your time, and the other 98% is sitting in your garage depreciating. Never mind expensive repair costs and insurance and fuel and maintenance just to keep the thing up and running. So all those costs are now gone. I don't get those bills. Now, do I miss driving? Not really. I mean, it was a bit of a shock not to drive, but now instead of having to worry about all those monthly expenses as well as the unknowns of car ownership, I just I just pay as I go for travel, right? So in the same way, I don't own a private jet, I just pay as I go for a seat on a plane. I don't own a car, I just pay for a seat in a car, and it gets me from A to B, and it's very controllable, very affordable, especially in Southeast Asia with services like Grab. So no car, no worries, no problem. Healthcare costs. Now, when I was working, I had a pretty good health insurance policy. It was hugely subsidized, or 80% by my company, as is not that unusual in the United States. When you retire before 65, you're not eligible for any kind of Medicare insurance. So you have to pay for it yourself privately. And it can be $1,000 a month per person, and that's without any claims. That's just to have the insurance. Never mind if you actually get sick and you have to pay a co-payment or an out-of-pocket, as well as prescription charges and onerous, I would say, onerous overcharging and sometimes surprise billing by US hospitals. So I've experienced all of that, and quite frankly, it's a complete sham, it's a complete scandal. So my conscious decision is to stay healthy in retirement and proactively get my health checked and get any treatments done and pay out of pocket. I do have insurance for something like cancer, but in general, the plan is to pay out of pocket, take care of your health insurance, and then should some very bad problems occur, then I have insurance for that. And that's going to be my plan for at least the next 7 years. Excellent healthcare in Southeast Asia, particularly in Bangkok and Kuala Lumpur, in my personal experience. Never mind dental and vision, which is probably one quarter of what you pay in the United States. So healthcare, not having to worry about it, the cost and also the complexity of the bureaucracy in the United States, that's gone. When I sold and gave everything away, something changed. Because I didn't have to dress up and go to work every day, I didn't feel the need to have a closet full of clothes for 4 seasons. I didn't feel the need to try to impress anyone or look sharp or kind of make sure that everything looked good, because I was a business professional, and this applied to my wife as well. So the daily cost of having a closet full of clothes for 4 seasons with shoes and all that crap, then that's gone. Now I just have a minimal wardrobe, fits in we make our life work out of a couple of suitcases and a carry-on. And the cost is gone, the overhead, the mental baggage is gone. So here's something that you may not have considered. When you downsize from a large four-bedroom house with a nice, beautiful designer kitchen and a huge fridge freezer, guess what goes away? The giant weekly shop. You're not looking to go out there and stock your freezer and make sure you have all your stuff ready no matter what. You're no longer throwing stuff out that's out of date, or you don't know why you bought it in the first place, or you changed your mind, or whatever. So you're not wasting food. There's no weekly shop, there's no mass storage of food and being prepared to consume. What does that do? Well, it makes you think consciously about what you eat. It means you're not wasting stuff, and it means that you have less stuff to worry about when you're on the move. So a little balance. What about the objection that I hear? Well, what if you don't like your new lifestyle? What if you decide to sell everything and become an early retiree nomad in a low cost of living country, and you decide you don't like it? Well, obviously you should have done some reconnaissance to these places that you imagine you'd like to spend time in, and at least had a basic idea that you would enjoy the culture. Let's assume you did that, and let's assume that you're still worried about, well, what happens if I change the way I feel about retirement in 2 years, let's say. Well, you can pivot. You've actually created a new baseline where you have no huge baggage of physical assets that are going to wear you down and slow you down and be a weight on your shoulders. What you've actually done, in my case, I think in many cases, because you've reduced your costs and reduced your overhead, you've actually been able to allow your retirement accounts to build up even more. So in my case, and I think in many other cases, your assets continue to grow during this early phase of early retirement. So if you pivot in a couple of years, say, nah, you know what? I think I do want to settle down to a cottage or some kind of condo in KL or beachfront property in Florida, or whatever you want to do. You've actually got options now. You've got assets, you've got liquid assets, you've got complete flexibility. And the idea that once you sell your house, then you've given up and there's no way back into quote unquote normal society is completely bullshit, because you're going to have to downsize anyway. Why would you, as a retired couple empty nesters, want to have a giant house that you need to worry about? And worse than that, need to continue working 5 to 7 years more just to keep you under roof and shelter, but doesn't really satisfy you or give you the financial freedom that you've worked all your life for. And the biggest payoff, in my opinion, is you won't have regrets. Just imagine if you are 67, you've continued to stay in your house, you've paid off the house, good for you. You worked till you're 67, and now you say, well, I want to, start traveling the world and doing the things I've been postponing. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be traveling. It's whatever it is that you've been waiting for by building up a nest egg and paying off a house. You may have regrets. At least if you've tried something. In my case, I wanted to try the expat nomad life minimalist approach, and so far it's working out great. And I will have no regrets if I decide, you know what, let's pivot and do something else in a couple of years. I'm going to have a rich set of memories with my wife and I. no matter what happens, but it's absolutely better than the alternative, which was, I'll say it again, keep working in that golden handcuffed cube in your office. In my case, I was a senior product manager making great money. My wife was a executive in HR making great money. But you got to show up 40 hours a week and you got to pay your mortgage and all the other bills I told you about. Just to keep that hamster wheel going. It wasn't worth it. Not during what is left of your life are certainly the most healthy and active years you'll ever have. So you got to choose where and what do you want to be doing during those years. Think about it. So for me, retiring early was not about just stopping working. I mean, that's a benefit. It's actually about, no thanks boss, thank you. So for me, early retirement is not about escaping life, escaping the rat race. I mean, that's a huge idea. But for me, early retirement is about not having to worry about the drip, drip, drip of those ever expanding bills. Those bills don't go down, those bills go up. For a lifestyle that the satisfaction payoff is very hard to justify, especially if you're in a big house with fancy cars in a high cost of living country that you've worked, in my case, 35 years. What is the point in working another 5 to 7 years just to be 5 to 7 years older? Yeah, you might be 5 to 7 years richer, but oh my God, you need to do the math and figure out if it was worth it. So when I wake up, I don't think about what bills do I have to pay this month, or what time do I need to be in the office and have I prepared for the meeting. And when can I make my next 2-week vacation plans? I think about completely different things. I think about, well, how am I going to enjoy this walk along the beach today? Do I want to make a video? Do my wife and I want to go out to dinner on the beach? And where do we want to go next in this adventure? Those are things that my brain didn't have time for before, and my budget didn't have time. My time budget was not available. So those are the things that you get. So my question to you is, if you're thinking about retiring early, and I mean before the standardized Western expectation that you'll work until 65 or 67 or even 70. If you think about it, ask yourself the question, how do I want to spend the healthiest years of my life that I have left to me right now? How do I want to spend them? Do I want to spend them in the office cube? Do I want to keep paying the overhead costs for all of the stuff that I own and have to pay for every month? Or do I want to flip it on its head and decide that the stuff really doesn't make you happy, it's the experiences. And the only reason to have money is to allow you to have those experiences. So answer that question for yourself and follow this channel and like this channel. If you want to hear more from me about what are the ups and downs of retiring early as a nomad minimalist from a high cost of living country. But take it from me, it's almost certainly a good idea. Put together your financial plan, get rid of all your stuff, start living your life, start having experiences, and you will almost certainly have no regrets when you're old and you're too tired and too infirm to do the things, but you don't regret it because you've already done them and you have the memories. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.